All right, so it is time for the winter meetings. We're going to break down the few moves the Astros made pre-winter meetings. We're going to take a look into what the Astros could be doing this week, and we got a nice little teaser trade for you on this episode of the Juice Box Heroes. Let's go.
What's going on, everybody? Thank y'all for tuning in. This is the weekend wrap-up, off-season edition, the Juice Box Heroes podcast. I'm one of your hosts, PK. As always, Sweet B Bones Bra. I was going to do it backwards today. And just Chris, H-Town Warrior.
Just Chris today. Still looking for a hero.
How's y'all's weekend?
It was pretty good, man. Busy. Wrapped it up last night with the League City Christmas party. So that was pretty cool. Got to ride on the float and stuff. But yeah, man, it's just been busy. It's crazy how not just with all the Christmas stuff, but just it seems like this month is just always just 20 times more busier. But that's what I got, man. Browse, I know that it was a rough weekend for you, but hey, how was your weekend?
Yeah, you said it was a little bit rough, but busy at the same time. My son got to celebrate his 8th birthday, which was awesome. So everybody got to celebrate that part. And then, other than that, it was me laying around a lot, being a little bit sick. So, PK, how was your weekend, buddy?
I was good, man. It was good. It was dance recital for my daughter. 2 of those on Saturday. Backed that up with a friend's Christmas party Saturday night, and then today watched my fantasy football team burn in the dumpster fire that it's been all season. So, now just looking forward to tonight's game with the Texans and the Chiefs. I know we're not a football podcast, but as a Texans fan, I think they really have to beat the Chiefs in order to kind of take that next step, right? The Chiefs have had our number for a minute. So it's time to handle the business tonight. We'll see what it does when we get off this podcast, but I'm really hoping that the Texans beat the Swifties in Arrowhead. So let's get into this podcast, man. We got winter meetings starting tomorrow. I would expect us to start seeing some moves going on. One of the questions that I posted on earlier tonight was how do you think Jake Myers will be available come the end of the week? Or not available. Do you think he'll be moved by the end of the week? So I'm curious to see what you guys' thoughts on it. I have my own on it. So let's get right into this thing. Chris, how pumped are you for the winter meetings? I know for the off season, the winter meetings is the beginning of the true off season.
Oh, absolutely. This is kind of it ranks up there with July 31st of every year, which is the trade deadline. This is where basically I am literally updating X every 15 seconds, even if it's 7:15 in the morning, just to kind of see if there's any moves being done. I mean, so this is half of my my baseball heaven right now.
Mm-hmm. Ross, what do you think?
Yeah, this is kind of like the politics of baseball. And, Chris said it right. It's everybody starts showing up. And my favorite part about it is seeing which players show up, because we know the GMs are going to be there. We know the owners are going to be there, but what players and their agents and all this are going to be there, trying to just politic their way into different, markets and what they can actually do with contracts and stuff like that. So this is where the hot stove actually starts to heat up. So from here to the start of spring training is where we get super excited. So I agree with you. It's just trying to update everything to see okay, who's doing what happened and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, this is a time where, the off season, there's not a lot of noise going on, a few big moves. We saw the Dylan Cease signing right to Toronto. Seattle signed, re-signed Naylor earlier in the off season. But this is where the teams that think they have a chance coming into 2026 possibly might try to make a big splash, right? Is go out and get that big signing, right? Acquire that big piece that they think is going to take them over the top. Then you have, players like Framber Valdez, who's probably going to get, somewhere close to Dylan Cease money, I would think, right? We all know that he went to the GM meetings, right, to go and talk about his character based on, that outing, what we saw towards the end of the season. He had damage control to do with these, GMs, right? So be curious to see what's going to happen with him. One of the players that we always talk about is Jake Myers, right? We talked about it with Dubon, and I feel like we're doing a broken record, but that's kind of how slow the offseason works. Jake Myers has the highest value that he's going to probably ever have as a major league player. So, I'm curious to see how long it's going to take. I don't think, if you ask me right now, I don't think he's going to make it through the week. I don't. Be curious to see how early he goes. Maybe a Wednesday, maybe a Wednesday. He'll be moved by then. So Chris, if we're to move Myers, we did a wish list last time. Are you looking for MLB ready players in return for him? Are we wanting a minor league restock?
No, I absolutely think you're going to get a major league piece, and I know that they've put out that they want a controllable major league piece. So, and like I said, I mean, like it's almost kind of like the Astros are trolling us, because I think it was a couple days ago they announced that they basically DFA'd Taylor Trammell and Logan Van Wy. So basically now you freed up 2 spots on your 40-man roster. So I know once I saw that, I'm like, oh boy. And it just I felt like a kid on Christmas night, just trying to update. And so far it's been nothing. So I'm hoping that those moves were pretty much made because they're close to wrapping something up, hopefully this week. But yeah, I mean, I also think Jake Myers is, as much as I know we all appreciate everything that he's done, as far as in an Astros uniform, I would be highly surprised and a little let down, to be honest with you. And it's nothing against him personally. It's not like I don't like Jake Myers, but I would be kind of let down if he wasn't moved by the end of the winter meetings.
Yeah, this one for me is a little bit of a conundrum because we've got starting pitching that we need. We've got an outfield that we need to fill. And we're talking about filling or trading away, our right now on paper, our number 1 outfielder. So I do understand that strike while the iron's hot. He's been very streaky, to say the least. Over the last few years, he's been a little bit injury prone, to say the least, over the last few years. So if we can get some pieces for him now, that'd be fantastic. I think at a minimum, you're going to have to get at least 1 starting pitcher. I'm not saying you're going to get a number 2 or even a number 3, but if you got something that you can fill for your number 4 or 5, that would be fantastic. And then maybe a couple of minor league pieces behind that. The other problem with that is who do you know that wants to compete right now, needs a center fielder, and has an overstock of starting pitching? And I can't think of one major league club that is in that position right now. Now, don't get me wrong. There are plenty of clubs out there that do have extra starting pitching, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be shopping for, a good center fielder. The one thing that we do have to our advantage is right now in the free agent market, there really isn't much out there other than Harrison Bader for center field. So other than that, it's a bunch of dudes. So that's why he's such a hot commodity right now. I don't know who we're going to end up trading him for if we do end up trading him. But at the same time, we better at least get 1 starting pitcher back. And then from there, fill in a couple of holes, and try to go from there. So what do you think, BK?
I just don't think the starting pitching that you would get back for Jake Myers would be something that you can actually hang your hat on. Not saying that it's not going to be a quality starting pitcher that you would acquire back. I think the Astros want to make a bigger splash in the starting pitching market, right? They want to get a top end rotation guy. I think if you go move Jake Myers, you're looking like, a middle to the end of your rotation pitcher. I would say, right? I really think that with the amount of injuries that we had last season, the guys that we had to count on over and over and over again, who ended up getting hurt themselves, right? I think that the starting pitching, the Astros, I think, will go after separately from a Jake Myers deal. I think for Jake Myers, what he would get back would be another outfielder, under contract, younger guy. I think that's what they would get back. So, I'm curious. I'm just waiting to see, man. It's like Chris, you said, it's like the trade deadline. Like that's always the funnest time of in season. This next week is one of the best times of the off season. So, curious to see what's going to happen, man. Like the Astros got us all waiting. We're all waiting for a move. You see it all over X, right? If you follow, all the regular guys on there. I mean, it's all over there trying to see what the Astros are going to do. So starts tomorrow, man. Be refreshing your phone like Chris does.
Yeah, it's gonna be nonstop. And we talk about Jake Myers. I mean, but it makes sense to move him now, not just. I mean, mainly because this is like PK said, like Brian said, this is the highest value he's going to have. Not to mention, I mean, I think you've kind of learned your lesson with Chas McCormick. He had that breakout season in 2023 when we were all like, man, we're waiting for him to replicate that, and it kind of never did. So now like you go from and I don't think anybody was like really clamoring to trade him, but you go from a guy having the max ceiling of his trade value to now you end up DFAing him and you get nothing back. So I feel like the Astros are ready to hand over the reins of center field to either Jacob Melton or Zach Cole. So I would assume, like I said, the Jake Myers deal gets done, and then essentially the Myers Cole the Jacob Melton and Zach Cole they'll fight out for center field during spring training. So makes sense, man. I'm hoping it gets done. Like I feel like I said, I'd be disappointed if nothing happened, just because I want to see them do something that I can get excited about. And I'm sorry, Nick Allen doesn't really excite me that much.
The Korean guy that's not a Korean guy doesn't make you excited?
Yeah. I mean,
not so much.
He excites me a little bit, just a little bit. Not a whole lot, though. But, yeah, I mean, so Browse, if you were going to guess, where's your Jake Myers trade prediction? Where do you see him going? And you don't have to give a specific name. You can just say, hey, I think he's going to go to this place for an outfielder or a first baseman or whatever.
Well, this is really tough. We've got some pretty natural trade partners, obviously with Chicago, and we've got natural trade partners with Minnesota. We've had some transactions with Diamondbacks in the past that have worked out really well. So to be honest with you, the Diamondbacks need an outfielder, and they are willing to trade just about anybody. I mean, I'm not going to say we're going to get anybody like Kettle Marte to come out there and play outfield for us anytime soon. But, they do have some trade pieces, and they've got a really, really good farm system. So, I mean, we could pluck away something out of their pitching staff, possibly to, trade Jake over there for. That is probably the best one because, the Diamondbacks are still looking to try to compete with the big boys in the West. Obviously the Dodgers are the juggernaut over there. I expect the Giants to go out and, reinforce their squad as well. And then, of course, San Diego's obviously got a really good roster too. And I expect them to try to do it too. The only non-competitive team in that entire league is going to be the that division is going to be the Rockies. So I think the Diamondbacks would be a great trade partner for him since they do need an outfield spot right now, and they need an outfield spot that can hit. That park is a little bit deep, and I think if Jake obviously can hit it into the power alleys, he's going to be able to turn those singles into doubles pretty easy, a lot easier than he could, at Minute Maid. So if you're asking me, I think the Diamondbacks are probably our easiest trade partner out of everybody on that one.
I like it. What about you, PK?
I honestly have no clue. The Cincinnati Reds are the first team that comes to my mind for some reason, like the Reds. I mean, they're on an up and coming team. I mean, they finished. I think they made it to the playoffs, right? Right. I think they lost to the Brewers. I think no, they lost to the Dodgers. The Dodgers.
Yeah,
they played the Dodgers. But I don't know. The Reds. At this point, I don't really care where he goes, just as long as what we get back is worth shit. Like really, right? So, have some more Dana Brown cooking like he did with the Correa trade with Minnesota, right? Essentially, you did the same thing with Atlanta, Dubon for Allen, right? Because you're saving, $7 million, $6 million, right? So, it was as much crap as Dana Brown gets. He does make moves that end up maybe not working out in those two instances. It works out in the field with Correa, on the books with Allen, right? So, like the guy makes moves, and for the most part, they're all pretty good moves. You can go back to Yusei Kikuchi last, 2 seasons ago, right? Me and Bryles were so adamant about not, why we did that. So the guy knows what he's doing. Like I said, I don't know. The Reds keep coming to mind. I don't know why. Maybe it's because they've been down for so long. But yeah, that would be my answer if I had to choose right this moment. The Cincinnati Reds.
I like it. I'm gonna throw a team that I really haven't heard too much about being linked to Jake Myers. Like I've heard I think I've heard like KC was one of them. I'm gonna go with the team who's looking to spend some money. All of a sudden, I don't know why, but they're looking to spend money. I'm gonna go Miami. I'm gonna say that Dana Brown is cooking up something with Miami. Maybe as Jake Myers, maybe a Christian Walker piece, maybe to go get one of those controllable pitchers, whether it's Edward Cabrera or it's Sandy Alcantara. Perfect World is one of them. I mean, but like I don't know, something intrigues me about Miami wanting to spend money all of a sudden. And Jake Myers would fit in that center field, veteran leadership with a bunch with all the young players that they have. So I don't know why, but I'm just kind of more gravitated more towards Miami. I think it's gonna be in Miami, but I could be wrong.
And Pittsburgh made a deal with Boston last week? Didn't they?
Yeah, I saw that.
Like a pretty big deal. They sent like 3 or 4 prospects over for. Look, they call the guy the lawyer because his name is a bunch of letters. Gian, I don't even know what his name is, right? But he's a high prospect for Boston. So, I mean, Pittsburgh is making some moves. I mean, you're right. I mean, it could be one of those teams like a Miami, Pittsburgh, where they've got assets that they can move, right? And Miami was playing some really good baseball towards the end of last season.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I really don't understand what Pittsburgh's doing because I know they're trying to build that team around Paul Skeens, but they're trading everybody that's got value. It seems like they want to build a contender, but the only ones they'll trade everybody who's not Paul Skeens. So I don't know what they're doing. But yeah, I'm sure nobody wants to hear us break down Pittsburgh Pirates,
roster,
what they're trying to do for their offseason. Yeah. So, all right. So let's move on since we're a little over halfway done with the episode. So this morning I was hopping online. I was doing my timesheet and I just happened to open up the Internet Explorer and I saw a trade and it was announced or the title of it was the one perfect trade that could land an Astros a starting pitcher that they wanted. I'm like, all right, well, you got me with the clickbait. So, and I've seen this trade offer a little bit more on X today. So, I don't know if it was put out earlier this morning, and then the people of Astros X decided, hey, this will be a good talking point. Which I mean, any type of hypothetical trade is always a fantastic talking point with me. So, I'm going to go ahead and put this up, and we're going to navigate through this because it's a little heartbreaking at first. So, here we go. Here's the hypothetical trade right here, as you'll see. So it's a trade with the Washington Nationals, which will get you the guy that the Nationals are saying that they are officially shopping, and that's Mackenzie Gore. He's a 26-year-old lefty. He was one of the key pieces in the trade for when Washington made the trade of Juan Soto to the Padres. He was, I think that at the time he was the Padres' number 1 or number 2 prospect. I mean, but like I was all for it, and then I kind of took a step back when I saw the return that it would cost. So you're looking at Bryce Matthews, Jacob Melton, Brandon Walter, and then you got Miguel Uola. Is this hypothetical trade for the Astros to get Mackenzie Gore? So when I first saw this, I was like, "Holy moly! What an over, like a completely like over,
Hey,
we would have got fleeced on that deal." So. But the more I kind of look into it, and now again, Mackenzie Gore's 26. He's the lefty that you're not going to have with Fromber, and like I said, Brandon Walters got the Tommy John, so he's out for the year pretty much. He was a guy that like if you look at his stats, he was 5-15 last year, and I know that when you see that, you're like, whoa, I'm not giving up all these guys for a guy that was 5-15. However, just kind of work with me here. His ERA was a tad smidget over 4. So I think his ERA was like 4.17 with 15 losses. Now, again, I think Washington finished last place again. So he had 30 starts last year. I'm trying to remember going up looking at his stats. So he only had 20 decisions in 30 starts. So that means there was 10 starts where we had no decision. So when I look at this, I'm thinking, okay, here's a lefty. I think he won't be a free agent until the 29 season, I believe. So you have him for 26, 27. It could be 28, but you have him for at least 2 full seasons. And then hopefully, you work your mojo and you re-sign him. So what I kind of saw when I saw this was, man, that's a lot. But then when I started breaking down his stats based off he played for the Nationals. I mean, so I ignore the 5-15 record. I believe if he came over to the Astros, I'm not gonna say he's gonna turn into Nolan Ryan or we're gonna do with him like we did to Garrett Cole. But I do think he could probably get a 6 to 7. I'm not gonna say it, a 5 to 7 game swing to where maybe that record is maybe 15-7 instead of 5-15. Again, not saying he's going to be Nolan Ryan or Randy Johnson. I look at the package and I know at first it hurts your soul as an Astros fan because you have Bryce Matthews, who right now, let's be honest, he's kind of log jammed. There's no spot for him
He's
in the
blocked.
infield. He's blocked. He's completely blocked. I mean, so Jacob Melton is the one that kind of stings the most to me. You've got Brandon Walter, who will eventually just be a veteran presence next season. And then you got Miguel Uola that'll help them probably this season. So the more I look at it, I mean, the only prospect that I'm kind of like going back and forth with getting rid of in that package would be Jacob Melton, mainly because, like I said, we had Garrett from the Space Cowboys on a couple weeks ago. He's very high on Jacob Melton. I'm very high on Jacob Melton. However, I mean, like it looks like everything that I've been reading is that the Astros aren't going to go into free agency to address the needs. It's all going to be done via trade, from what I'm reading. So, the more I looked into it, the more I looked into his stats, I think I'm leaning more towards pull the trigger, Dana. I'm good with it. Prowls, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I'm pulling the trigger on that all day long, and I'm going to tell you why. And you knocked out a whole bunch of what I was about to say. So, you're right. We don't have any room in the infield. We don't know what Uola could be. He's probably the biggest name in that for Washington. And then, the only thing we're losing would be Melton as an outfield spot. And then, just like you said with Walter, it's like, don't get me wrong, I'd love to have him on our pitching staff again. But if we lost him, it wouldn't be the worst thing ever. So the one thing I will say is the Nationals are in the bottom 5 in the entire league in infield defense. So take his win-loss record, take his ERA, and just completely throw it out the door. Because we're going to have one of the top infields in all of baseball, especially defensively. So if, he's going to be throwing a whole lot of ground ball hits in there, trust me, we're turning those into outs where the Nationals not necessarily could have done that. So I guarantee you that his ERA, just by changing uniforms, is going to be better. So the win-loss record, obviously that's going to do the same. And then, you brought up a very good point. So he's not going to change this like to make us all of a sudden a World Series, number one, contender, but he will give us another 4 or 5 wins if he's healthy the whole season. So if he gives us another 4 or 5 wins, correct me if I'm wrong, in 2025, where does that put us? First place in the division, right?
Yeah.
And it puts us in the playoffs and first round in the division. So I will take that all day long, all day, every day. So if that is the proposed trade, there's a whole bunch of maybes and one veteran pitcher that I think could easily be replaced for $1 million or less and go from there. So I like it. PK, what do you think?
Man, like you see the Miguel Uola, however you say his name, and like that scares me from the beginning because this guy has, I know he hasn't pitched up at the bigs yet. We don't really know how he's going to fare at the big league level, but he's shown nothing but, good outing after good outing after good outing down to the farm. Right. So I also understand that in order to get quality major league talent, no matter what position on the field, you have to give up you have to give up talent. I understand that. I always err on the side of caution just because, what if Mackenzie Gore, is that, 500-ish, win-loss, pitcher. However, like Chris was saying, if you compare, the Nationals towards the Astros, I know we bitched and moaned all season about the Astros offense, right? Like, and how inconsistent it was. But Washington is equally or more inconsistent than Houston, right? They are. And so I was trying to pull up the stats, so I got sidetracked. But if you have 30 starts and you have 15 losses, and Chris, goes back to your point, like how many of those were no decisions? You can do the math, right? And it could be no decisions from him getting knocked out early. It doesn't matter, right? He is 26. He is the lefty to replace what you're losing in Fromber. Like if you look at Bryce Matthews, it was Bryce Matthews, it was Melton, Brandon Walter, and Miguel, right? That's a lot. To me, that's a lot. The Miguel piece to that scares me away from that. It does. Like it does, because I want to see what we have in Miguel, right? The Bryce Matthews things, like Braz, you were talking about it. I mean, he's locked. He's blocked, right? He's just going to be kind of what he was this year, where he'd be up, to cover down for an injury or, whatever it is, put him in the outfield for a few games. I mean, and then Brandon Walter, we got him. We didn't expect Brandon Walter to do what he did, right? Jacob Melton, we really still haven't seen everything we want to see from him because he was injured, right? So, like I said, I'm pretty conservative, so I would say no to that trade, right? I think I would say no. Not so much about the other three pieces in that offer. For me, it's if you take Miguel out and if you could, I don't know, add another guy in there and then we can have that conversation. But I want to see what Miguel's going to bring. I mean, he was added to the 40-man roster already, right? So I would assume there's a plan to, see what he can do during the spring training, right? So yeah, my short answer, it would be no to that. And it's probably an unpopular answer. I know you have to give up talent to acquire talent. The Astros don't have enough stacked talent in the farm system to continue to deplete it, to continue to get better talent, right? Like for me, I need to rebuild the farm, get out the bottom level of overall farm systems in the major league and start rebuilding it. So I think make these offseason trades, like a trade or a free agent signing, to where you don't have to give up your farm.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. Again, I mean, but what good is it is developing or rebuilding your farm if you're not going to see them at the major league level? I mean,
look,
I agree with, like I said, I agree with you. However, I mean, with Bryce Matthews, I mean, unless you have another repeat of last season, which God, I hope we don't.
Right,
you're not going to see Bryce Matthews. He ain't taking shortstop from Pena. He ain't taking second base from Altuve. If he shifts to third, he ain't beating out Paredes or Carlos Correa. So unless he learns how to play first base, I mean, there's nowhere for him to go.
Well, I think with Bryce, I mean,
that's why it makes sense.
You can move Bryce. Like you can move Bryce. Like I'm okay with Bryce being moved. If you take Miguel out of that offer, then I'm good. You send it, but that's not a legit offer to get Mackenzie Gore.
But it's not like Miguel Uola is your only interesting pitching prospect down in hell. Even Sugarland, if you want to, just limit it down to Sugarland, you just got Ethan Pecco down there in Sugarland. So
I was just about to say,
and you got a couple other kids. I can't remember their name. I think Meyer's one of them that's down in AA. I mean, so like I can understand if it was Miguel Uola and then this massive Titanic drop off, and then it's like me in like single A, right? I mean, but you've got other very interesting starting pitchers, not just in the minors, but in Sugarland itself that that could allow you to say, okay, I mean, it sucks moving Uola, but we still have Ethan Pecco. So, and it gets us a lefty that's controllable for another 2 years. So, but yeah, I mean, like, I get it. I get where you're coming from. I mean, like I said, when I first saw that offer, I was like, oh, I don't even want to look at this. I almost closed it out. But then I started digging into the stats. I'm like, I get it. But, I mean, pitching is so expensive. It's so expensive. And you know what? You're going to have to do that. Otherwise, Mackenzie Gore in this scenario ends up being a Dodger. And then I don't want to hear anybody bitch about how he's a Dodger. I mean, so that's what I'm saying. Like, you're going to have to pay a little bit more with your farm system looking the way it is. Go ahead, Ross. Sure. I know you wanted to get it.
No, I was going to say, though, too, like he is a generational talent as far as a pitcher is concerned. And I want for you guys out there that are not familiar necessarily with the Washington Nationals or Mackenzie Gore either, think of it this way. Remember when we got Garrett Cole from the Pirates? He had a 4.5 ERA. At best, he had a .500 record, but the dude had his stuff. and we turned him into a generational talent as far as a pitcher was concerned. So that's exactly how I see Mackenzie Gore. If we don't get him and turn him into that generational talent, I guarantee you somebody with a good pitching coaching staff definitely will. So that's I think his biggest comp right now is that Garrett Cole as a Pirate.
Yeah, no, you're right. Oh, look, you're right. We turned Garrett Cole into a $324 million pitcher, right? I mean, and you're absolutely right. Like, I mean, Garrett Cole was good, but he was not Garrett Cole like he was with the Astros, right? Like he wasn't, not when we acquired him. So,
not at all.
So yeah, look, someone's got to say no. I'm going to be the guy that says no because it's first glance. It just looks like a lot. I think if you probably asked me in a day or two, like kind of like Moreno, once I sit back and kind of look at it, you understand that, again, like I said, you have to give up talent to get talent. It's just the bottom line. That, or you're going to overpay 7 years, $210 million for Dylan Cease. Just saying.
Or,
I'm not saying.
Or you're going to sit there. You're going to sit there and cry when he gets traded to the Dodgers.
That's correct. That's correct. Or New York.
If you want to play in the big dance, you got to pay the money for the ticket. So,
real
quick before we get out, guys, give me a out of nowhere crazy prediction. Whether it's a trade, it's probably gonna be a trade. I don't see the Astros signing anybody. So, Browse, kick us off. Give us a crazy trade prediction that's probably not going to happen, but screw it. Go ahead.
Man, I've mentioned this a couple of times. The biggest one I see that probably isn't going to happen, but is Christian Walker going back to the Diamondbacks. And I've been talking about the Diamondbacks a lot this episode, and I'm not trying to harp on them, but they keep saying how they need a first baseman. We all know that. And on top of that, they really like Christian Walker, and Christian Walker really likes playing in Arizona. So we could probably fleece them for one of their pitchers, Fat, Pfadt, I think is his last name, how you spell it. Anyway, he would be a great starting pitcher.
Yeah.
Fat. Anyway, we could probably snag him, grab something out of their farm system, which is absolutely stacked, and probably grab one of their low-end outfielders too, just on top of that. So I'm not saying it's going to happen, but we would also have to eat some money if we're going to do something like that too. So that, if we could get Fott for Christian Walker, taking it all day. That's my crazy trade prediction.
All right, PK.
Again, I don't have a team in particular, but if we're going to do stupid hypotheticals,
stupid hypotheticals. That's how we live our lives.
They're going to move on from Yiner. That they'd move on from Yiner.
Oh, okay.
Ooh. Right.
I like that.
So we saw what we're in 25. So in 24, coming into the 25 season, like my hot take coming in, which was so wrong, was that Yiner was going to be, like a AL MVP candidate, not win it.
You had a lot of reasons for that, though.
But
there were a lot of reasons for you to make that.
Like he was mashing at the end of 24, right? I mean, he was. And I was playing behind, or not as often as Maldonado, right? So we talk about it all the time. Like the guy cannot throw out anybody, any base runner. None of our catchers can, right? And if you're not going to be able to
from Machete,
if you're not going to do that, then you need to hit. And I think he was the grounded, GIDP, grounded double play guy, right? All the time. You know what I'm saying? So, he still put up some numbers, but it was so inconsistent that it was frustrating. So, like I said, I don't have a team in particular, but my stupid, crazy trade that would happen, that would come out of nowhere, would be Yano Diaz on the move, and then you figure out the catching position after that. Maybe you acquire a young catcher and again, right? But that'd be my stupid hypothetical for sure.
I like it. I was going to go Christian Walker, and then Browse beat me to it. I'm going to go one completely out of left field that makes absolutely zero sense, but I'm going to say Arrighetti is traded for a left fielder. I don't know if it's going to be Brendan Donovan. I don't know if it's going to be Stephen Kwan, but it's going to be one of those two. Arrighetti will go to another team for a starting left fielder. Probably not going to happen. Again, goes against everything that we're trying to do as far as controllable pitchers. But, screw it. Hypothetical, ridiculous trades. Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. We'll see what happens, man. Look, one more thing. I swear this is the last thing. Jeff Kent got elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame. That is Bryle's favorite Astro.
Bryle's has been waiting.
So
absolutely.
Bryles, you got 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Tell me how much you love Jeff Kent as an Astro.
I'm going to keep it short and sweet. One, he took over for my favorite second baseman in Houston Astros history, Craig Biggio, and forced him to go play
Kaz
center
Matsui?
field.
Oh.
No, not Kaz Matsui. Anyway, pushed him into center field, and then very shortly after that, in the off season, after we acquired him, they were talking to him about how much he loved the game of baseball, and he said, "I don't love baseball. I play this because I'm good at it, and I get paid really well." So, Jeff Kent, you can go kick rocks, and I could care less that you're in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, no, look, it's all.
Hey, was Jeff Kent? Was he the one that got hurt when he fell out of a deer stand? Was that Jeff Kent?
Yes, it was.
Yes.
Oh, that's fair. All right. Well, hey, congratulations, Jeff Kent. You'll always have that home run.
That one home run.
What are the odds he goes in as an
that one time?
No, he's a giant. He's a giant. He's going in as a giant.
He's got to go in as a giant.
It's not very nice.
He's going in. Definitely going in as a giant. All right. Well, look, man, I want to thank you for everyone that's tuning in and watching us tonight. But thank you for always supporting us and following us on X, on TikTok, YouTube, all the stuff. So we thank everyone for tuning in. We'll be back on Thursday with maybe a special guest. I'm still waiting to hear back from a possible special guest on Thursday. But just follow us on X and Facebook. We'll have all the information out. So hope you guys have a great rest of your evening. Hopefully the Texans are hanging in there with the Chiefs right now. I'm about to go check out on it. Have a great start to your week. We'll talk to y'all on Thursday. This is the Juice Box Heroes. I'm PK. I'm doing it backwards. I don't know why. That's Bryles and that's Chris. Y'all have a good one.
Hook 'em. See you at the Cheez-It Bowl.
Cheez-It Bowl, baby. It's Michigan.